to the main stage at Autosport International, everybody. Welcome along. We are about to talk about a championship, a series which was launched here at Autosport International last year, or at least they had a very big stand, and we were able to glean a little bit about what was going to be a very exciting inaugural year for W Series. We are about to welcome 3 drivers from W Series 2020, and 2 of which competed in 2019, and indeed the CEO of W Series. So would you please welcome Bond Muir, and also 3 drivers, Alice Powell, Sarah Moore and Abbie Eaton. Welcome, girls. Come along and join us. Now, I'm afraid, it being the start of the year, you have to earn your seat. So Abbie has yet to earn her seat, so she'll be stood at the end. I'm sorry about that, Abbie. We'll get to you in a couple of moments. Catherine, first of all, 12 months ago, I think it's fair to say that 12 months ago, you were batting away a fair amount of cynics about W Series. 1 year down the line, I think you've rather silenced quite a few of those. It was a fantastic inaugural year, wasn't it?
Yes, we're delighted how it went, and I think what the extraordinary thing was the reception we've had from media all over the world. You know, we reached 340 million people through TV.
Goodness me.
You know, over 5 billion people have read about us online, and in newspapers. So it is really extraordinary what has happened in the space of a year and a standing start. And, you know, who knew that women could race motor cars? So I think what we have shown is everyone knew that, but what we've demonstrated is that they can do that, and they can do it brilliantly and competitively.
I think what it also rather endorses is the fact that all of us, fans of motorsport, essentially, rather passionately would like females to do well in motorsport and ultimately get to the Formula One grid. That's our ultimate aim and desire, I think.
Not just Formula One. I think some of our drivers want to do that, but also others want to go on into a whole variety of other series throughout the world. And, you know, Alice, you know, has had new drives that she otherwise wouldn't have been given because of the profile that she got through W Series. And I think that is a great feather in our cap, the fact that we've allowed other drivers to get new drives that they otherwise wouldn't have had.
I was fascinated. I watched the coverage. I mean, you had great television coverage. The coverage will continue this year as well. I was fascinated to see how it panned out. I was excited by the racing. I came along to the final round. I was buoyed by the amount of actual public support that you had, people being applauded in the paddock, and it's quite a show that you put together, isn't it?
Well, I'm biased about our Brands Hatch Day. I mean, it was, I have to say this after having a baby and marriage, it was the best day of my life. But it was, for me, it was truly a magical day because, you know, it had been years in the planning. And what we had for the first time were thousands of people coming to watch W Series. And also, most importantly, there were lots of young kids who were there who came to watch them. And, you know, these girls were the stars of the day, and you could see all of these young kids just looking up in adoration at them. It's quite difficult with Sarah because she's quite short. But it really was an absolutely just spectacular and magical day, and everyone said the same thing. It's about what a fantastic family atmosphere it is. You know, I think Will Buxton said, you know, this is beautiful, but this is also important. And I think the importance was that actually there was a brand new beginning for motorsport, and that's turning it into a truly family event.
Alice Powell, you had a fantastic year in W Series. You're back again in 2020. In fairness, you'd already won a championship in a single-seater previously, but you hadn't been back behind the wheel of a car. It gave you a huge career opportunity, didn't it, last year?
Yeah, 100%. And like Catherine said, there's been a few drives that I probably wouldn't have got at all if it wasn't for W Series. So, you know, like she said, that's what they wanted to happen, and it's happened. And I wasn't racing for 4 or 5 years, and got back into a seat and had a great time, and just looking forward to this year.
Brands has to be pretty much a highlight of your year last year, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, as you said, the crowd there was fantastic.
It was amazing. You were getting applauded out of the paddock.
I know. Yeah, not just leaving.
No, I know. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was great. So the support there was amazing, and I don't know if W Series expected it, but I certainly didn't. And when I went there, the amount of young girls that were there were fantastic, especially meeting them all in the meet and greet, in the autograph session as well was great. And as Catherine said, that's what it's about. We want to try and encourage more females. Obviously, we want to have great racing on track, and we all want to win, but we want to do the latter as well.
Well, if I just discount the fact that it was females that were racing in W Series, can I just talk about that race that we had at Brands Hatch? Because that was a pretty exceptional motor race with a championship title at stake. That was pretty fine stuff to watch.
Yeah, I didn't really care about the title fight. Sorry.
No, I know you didn't.
Obviously, I was a bit disappointed not to get Powell, being on in the lead for most of the qualifying session. So Jamie just pipping me at the end. The win was a long time coming. You know, is that the past couple of races had been building up to it. So I know I had an opportunity, and probably that Jamie was not going to put up much of a fight. In all fairness, she put up a bit of a fight. We did make contact.
More than I thought she would.
Oh yeah, so I would have been nice if she put up a bit more fight for Emma, not just me.
There was some gamesmanship there. Before the race,
sure.
she was telling Jamie that she was going to push her off the track if she could.
That's probably why she put up a fight. I say that to Sarah all the time. It was a good race, and yeah, it was good to get the win, especially at Brands Hatch.
Sarah, come on to you, because of course you're a former champion in motorsport, and again, you hadn't had a full career of racing after you won your championship title. That was, again, a great opportunity for you last year, and it opens up again in 2020 as well.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest opportunity I've had since I was on a touring car package. It was a big learning curve for me. I think to line up on the grid for the first race was probably the highlight for me, my highest qualifying position. So like I say, it was a big learning curve. I learned a lot, but also made some really good friends along the way.
There was a lovely camaraderie. I mean, there's a whole theatre to W Series, which I rather enjoyed. Being down in the paddock, there's warm up, there's going through a fair few exercises, physical exercises before you get into the car. All of that's quite important to what you're doing, but it's also theatre for the fans and the spectators to watch. But what I was quite interested in was the camaraderie between the drivers, which was you're smirking. I don't know why you're smoking, because it looked to be quite enjoyable. In fairness, it looked to be quite good fun.
Yeah, we all got on really well, which I think most people didn't expect, to be honest.
No.
I think if you put that amount of women in a room, they'd expect some fights, probably.
Yeah.
But we all got on really well. I think, in reality, we all want the same thing. We all want to be successful in motorsport, and we all want women to make it to the top. So I think it was nice, actually, that we all got on and worked together.
Let's talk to Abbie Eaton, who unfortunately has to earn her stripes and get a chair on the stage here at Autosport International. You could squeeze up. So you're coming into W Series for the first time this year. Did it to you prove itself to you last year?
Yeah, I think I'm the same as probably a lot of the other females that just were braver to actually make the plunge and do it the first year. I was a little bit sceptical about, segregating the two genders. Is it actually a positive thing long term? Is it going to work? There have been other championships in the past where it's been female only, and it's been a bit of a flop. So I had other things going on in Australia that I'd put a lot of time and effort into, and I just thought I'm going to sit back, watch it, and just see how it develops. And testament to everyone involved, it's been a great success.
Well, you've got a pretty high profile public-wise because of your television work over recent years. This could help W Series to reach to an even greater audience, couldn't it? There is a bit of an endorsement from you, which is rather nice to see.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people have said to me, you're a fraudster going back on what you said to start off with, but actually, I can put my hands up and say that I did get it wrong, and, I'm excited to have the opportunity to race this year. Without this opportunity, I would be sat at home, and to be quite honest, with the Australian thing not going exactly as planned, that's what I did most of last year, is sit at home and watch these guys race. And, the level of competition that they all put out on track every single time is extremely high, and I know I've got my work cut out for me this year, jumping in and getting stuck in with them.
I was going to say, you're putting yourself up with a bit of a target, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people in interviews, they say, you know, who's your biggest competitor, you know, on the track? And I said, my biggest competitor is you guys and what you're expecting me to do. You know, ultimately, I haven't had any previous single-seater experience, but, you know, this next year is something that I'm going to use to learn what I need to do. And, you know, the fact that they're at such a high level means I've got to get stuck in straight away and I've got to learn fast.
Catherine, can I come back to you? Did last year exceed your expectations of what you thought year one might be?
I've been asked this a lot, but to be honest, I don't think I had that many expectations. But because how can you, when it's brand new? I mean, I just remember my reaction from certain events, and when, you know, we launched W Series, you know, we reached over 100 million people in the press and on social media. So what that did immediately was demonstrate that the story had resonated globally. And then getting the deal with Channel 4, I think, was a fantastic win for us, because we were the only motorsport that was live on the front 5 channels in the UK. So, and I think that the television, and I know you were talking about it with David earlier on, but I think by the Brands Hatch race, the quality of programming that was being produced was off this.
Absolutely fantastic. World, yeah, it really was. 12 months ago, I hate to say I told you so, but I was a big fan, and there was a couple of reasons why I was a big fan. Firstly, irrespective of whether you're male or female, to have an offer of racing in a series that offers the amount that you were offering was something to really bite your arm off for. It was a great opportunity, but also because I'd seen talent such as Alice sitting alongside Jamie, who became the champion, Sarah, who was a former champion, that I've seen racing from when they first started racing, and then unfortunately not getting the breaks, the opportunities that maybe mainstream motorsport was giving them, to have the opportunity, the chance that they had last year, and in particular to be on a world stage live on terrestrial TV in the UK. That was a money can't buy kind of offer.
Yes, but it's not just about giving people the opportunity. In order for all of these drivers to go on and succeed in more senior championships, what they have to have is a high profile, because we all know that motorsport is about money and they have to be able to raise the money themselves. So those TV deals, as you say, are absolutely key to raising their profile. I think this year we'll do a much better job at making them all a little bit more famous. Because this year we don't have to talk about why W Series exists. This year we can talk about the drivers and their stories. And I think this year the season 2 will be much more interesting, because people can actually engage with the stories about the drivers.
Alice Powell, do you feel more famous?
Not as famous as Sarah.
And Sarah doesn't feel as famous. Yeah, right, okay, this could go on and on, couldn't it? Do you, though?
No, I think definitely at Brands Hatch we did. You know, wildlife. Obviously, we spend a lot of time together. It took us ages to get from one side of the paddock to the other, but you know, it was nice to stop and talk to everyone and hear kind of their stories. There was quite a few young female karters there as well, and just to give them advice. And a lot of them were saying we're aspiring to be racing in W Series one day, which was really, really nice to hear.
Certainly, Jamie, as champion, has really had a huge profile boost globally, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's done really well. Hopefully we're all out to stop that next year or this year and win, and we'll have the same, and one of us, well, me, hopefully. Sorry.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I had a feeling it might be that.
I just want there to be great racing until the last race. So whatever you do, I don't mind. I don't mind who wins.
Just look after the cars.
We'll have to sort out a contract for that. Sorry.
There we go. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm really pleased that it's a success story that we bring to Autosport International 12 months after the very high-profile launch that we had here at the show last year. It was very impressive 12 months ago, and I think you'll all agree, everybody, they gave us some great entertainment on circuit as well. Give them all a round of applause, please. W Series represented by Catherine Bond Muir, and also drivers Alice Powell, Sarah Moore and Abbie Eaton as well. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much indeed, and good luck in 2020. More coming up live on the main stage here at Autosport International.